Well, you need to have an exit strategy. An exit, you need to talk about an exit strategy. The reason is simple. When an investor like me puts money in, he has to feel there's a way to get it back, that he's going to make some gain. And so if you come to me and you say, I need your $1 million, and I'm going to run this company forever, I'm never going to exit, and I say, I'll never get my money back because I'm buying a percent of the company. I'm not giving you a loan, I'm giving you an equity investment. And what I'm looking for is either a merger acquisition where somebody buys the company for $100 million. Now you can say the value is only 10 million, so that intermediate is the growth. I'll get a chunk of that, I'll get whatever percent. Or if he goes public, now it has a value and I can sell my stock. If I own 10% of it, I can sell it as stock and I'll get my money out and I can recognize the gain. So every investor wants to hear an exit strategy. And usually the one they want to hear is M&A, merger and acquisition. They don't want to hear IPO because it's so rare, so difficult. They don't want to hear that you're going to run the company forever because that means they'll never see any exit. So if you don't talk about it, they assume the worst. So maybe one more point on the exit strategy. The best way to quantify your exit value is called comparable. The best way is to say, I have a software company, I'm going to sell to somebody like Microsoft or IBM. They just bought a company just like mine for $100 million. Now you have an exit strategy with a value that's credible. Because if you come to me and you say, I do my software, and I assume there will be people who will pay 100 times my revenue. That's a dream. But if you have a comparable, it's like your house. If you have a comparable next door that's sold for $1 million, chances are yours could do that if you're similar to that. If the one next door, and I know this, I read the papers like you do, and so if Microsoft bought, the biggest purchase they made was $50 million for software, say, you think you're going to get 100 million? I doubt it. No comparables, no chance. So you should always have in your mind a comparable. If you say, well, nobody's ever done that, then try to get something close, something, say, in this industry, in this realm, in Silicon Valley, something. You have to give your estimate some credibility somehow.
You start with, and we help out in this often to the complaints of entrepreneurs, and it's called due diligence. To bring money in at any level from strangers, you have to have your ducks in order. It's truer in the intensity of that for venture, and it's truest when you're selling your business. Somebody wants the whole thing, and they're going to pay a big, relative to you, you're thinking a big number. They're not going to do it trivially. They're going to want all the I's dotted and all the T's crossed. If you don't do that, if I'm a big company, why should I take the risk? I'll give you a specific example that I use all the time on it. I sold a business to Apple. We're going through our documents, and the Apple attorneys discovered that one of our developers, who was a college kid who worked for 6 weeks doing graphical things on the landing page of our website, had neglected to sign the acknowledgement that we owned all the intellectual property. He didn't touch any code of any meaning whatsoever. Apple said to us, no document, we don't close. We have to be 100% sure that if we're acquiring your company, we're acquiring 100% of the rights to all the software that's there. So we had to track down the guy who was at that point doing next summer's internship at a company in France. When we finally got him, he said, oh yeah, here, he signed the document. No one was trying to steal anything. On the other hand, the acquirer wanted to make sure that nobody was doing something underhand. So all those kinds of things have to be lined up right. Clear as can be. Because no matter how a transaction goes, there are always going to be difficulties. So you start with, if you acknowledge that at the back end, you just move it forward in all the steps. So when we do diligence, there shouldn't be as much resistance to it as a lot of entrepreneurs. Well, I don't have to give that to you. You give it to us now, and then you don't have to worry about it, because ultimately the most obscure, the places where you do this least well, is at the beginning. Oh, it's the three of us. We'll just go do this. So we help in that, and it goes in stages. At an exit, it's got to be tied up in a bow. You're going to get a big fat book with all the documents, and you've made all these representations that if they're not right, you can disgorge the cash and you can be sued and all that. So better do it right.